Hello, Will?
Hello, hello.
Hello. We will start on your end.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Hey, LeBron, Mike Trudell in LA. I've asked you this basically every round, but closeout games, you've won 16 of the last 17. You said your mindset is about finding a way to be as desperate as the other team. It just seems like that'd be so much easier said than done. How do you find a way to do that?
Just who I am. It's just the way I prepare my mind, prepare my body, prepare for the moment. And just having that desperation coming into a closeout game. And not saying it is always I've been victorious after, having that mindset, but that's just who I've become and how I've challenged and channeled my mindset and the moment and living in the moment and not taking it for granted and just channeling that desperation is knowing that the opponent and the man that's across from you has that same feeling. So that's what it is.
Allison?
Start with Dan.
LeBron, the Executive of the Year award just came out. I think Rob finished 5th or 6th or something like that. We know how you guys feel about Defensive Player of the Year. We heard what you said about MVP. Typically, individual accolades come with great team success, and you guys had it. Do you have any idea as to why maybe it hasn't, for whatever reason, happened on this team, those individual accolades?
You have to ask whoever voted.
Go Tim Reynolds.
LeBron, I think you've gotten this question at like every final, so I apologize. But looking at what you did this year, being, I think, the oldest to be a first-time assist champ and back on this stage with a third different team, and you don't need the list. I mean, the fan vote for MVP, I think you won pretty easily. What has this year done for legacy? Or do you think the legacy is, no matter what you do from today forward, do you think the legacy is already kind of written?
Don't really think about it too much. I think the story will be told how it's supposed to be told and be written how it's supposed to be written, but I don't live my life thinking about legacy. What I do off the floor is what means more to me than what I do on the floor. How I, seeing my kids on the back of a Wheaties box yesterday was one of the best moments of my life. And seeing my mom unveil the box back in my hometown of Akron, Ohio yesterday was some of the best news, videos, and pictures that I've ever seen, that I could ever get. The game of basketball will pass me by, and there's a group of young kids and vets and rookies throughout the course of this game. But so I can't worry about that as far as on the floor. How I move, how I walk, what I preach, what I talk about, and how I inspire the next generation is what matters to me the most. And if you appreciate my game, then cool. If you didn't, then that's cool too. But that's what it boils down to.
Dave McMenamin.
LeBron, you guys are going to wear the Black Mamba uniforms tomorrow. I wanted to know if you recall the first time seeing them, either when the Lakers wore them a couple seasons ago or just when you first got your hand on it. And you're a guy who has aesthetic opinions. What do you think about that look?
I thought they were cool from when I seen them, when they wore them a few years ago. And obviously until you get your hands on them, you don't get to see the detail in them. It's super duper detailed. Has that snake mamba print on it. And it means something. It's something more than just a uniform. It represents an individual who gave a franchise 20 years of his blood, sweat, and tears, and his dedication to his craft, both on and off the floor, to make that franchise be proud of him, and hopefully vice versa. So, like I think last year we had a Shaq jersey. Magic did one as well. I think it's pretty cool when you're wearing a uniform that a legend had his hands on.
Kyle Gurn?
Just adding to the closeout game, which you've obviously played closeout games before, but the fact that you're also, potentially one win away from going home and being reunited with a lot of the people that you want to see and care about, does it make it harder to kind of prepare the same way for this game than any of the others?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I have a support system at home that's taking care of that allows me to focus on my job. So when I get home, but I got a job to do.
Okay, Sam Amick, please.
Bron, you've talked about AD so much during this run, but I'm curious about the relationship basically 2018. I think it was December of 2018. You mentioned to Dave about how it'd be amazing to play with him. You've talked about 2012 and the Olympics. What was the evolution of the two of you between that time? And when did you decide, like, in terms of possible partners, to do this thing, that this was a guy that you wanted to be with?
Well, on the 2012 team, first of all, you just look at his 1 year at Kentucky and what he was able to produce for that program in 1 year. His ability to outrun guards, ball handling with the smalls, block shots, catch lobs. I remember one game, I think they were playing North Carolina, and he had the game-winning block. I believe it was versus John Henson, if I'm not mistaken, if my basketball mind is correct. And that block was incredible, and they won that game. But then you just looked at his run throughout that whole March Madness. He was just beyond the best player in college basketball. And we get to 2012 when he's, a young Anthony Davis, and he soaked up everything. He was not a rookie that came in and thought he knew it all or felt like he was who he was, the National Player of the Year and national champion and so on and so on. He came in with a sponge mentality right off bat, just soaking up everything from myself to Kobe, D-Wade, Melo, so on and so on and so on. You knew right then how great of a player he was going to be just from that. And in 18, it was, I guess what's known don't need to be said. You look at a guy who can do everything out on the floor versus anybody. And you have visions of what that could look like if you were to team up. And I was speaking truly, just true from the heart and from a basketball mindset. And Dave paid for it. I paid for it for that moment, but I didn't care because I just know how special he is.
All right, we'll take a few more with Will back on Zoom.
All right, thank you. Tanya?
Bron, I have two questions for you. The first is, you've been a Laker now for 2.5 calendar years. And I'm wondering what you've learned in that time about what it means to be part of this franchise. And then the second is, could you share a little bit of how your relationship with Jeannie has evolved over these last couple of years?
Well, one, what I've learned being a Laker is that the Laker faithful don't give a damn what you've done before. Until you become a Laker, you got to do it with them as well. So they don't care about your resume. at all until you become a Laker, and then you got to do it as a Laker, and then they'll respect you. I've learned that. My relationship with Jeannie, I will say, is incredible. I think she's an unbelievable owner. I think she's a powerful woman. I think what she believes in is an extension of her father, and continuing to build this legacy of this great franchise. I'm just happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to have the relationship that I have with her and with Linda Rambis as well. It's very unique, and just honored to be a part of, because I love the history of the game, and I've read so much about Dr. Buss and his teams and his success, and to be playing while his daughter is the owner of the team, I think it's pretty cool. It just adds to the legacy of this franchise.
Hey, LeBron, I wanted to go back to the uniforms just real quick. Did the decision to wear those tomorrow for Game 5, was that something that came from the locker room? Did the players have a say in that? Were you consulted on whether it was the right time to wear those again?
No, I have no idea where it came from. I seen on the schedule it was prepared for Game 7, so I don't know where it came from. I'll wear any uniform, to be honest. Just put me on the court.
Joe?
Hey, LeBron, it's Joe Barden. Hi. As you remember, when this thing started in the bubble, you were talking about how difficult it can be and was to play without fans. You spoke at length about that. And then separately, you were just saying how rough it was to live in the bubble day to day anyway. And I'm wondering, for both things, when and sort of how you got over it or got through it, like how you were able to kind of get over playing without that usual adrenaline rush of the crowd, and when life in the bubble just kind of, when you're just kind of able to get your own mind around it.
I don't know. I don't know the exact date. I think it's when anything in life, something that's different, something that's it's challenging, something that's uncomfortable. I guess it'd be like when I went from the 8th grade to the 9th grade. I went from middle school to high school. It was uncomfortable, and then I got used to it. Or when you guys went to college, for the people who went to college, it was probably uncomfortable leaving home for the first time and have your mom and dad's cooking or whatever the case may be, and now you in the dorm room and trying to figure us out. But you figure it out. So it's human. Just human growth. It's a human mindset. It's a growth mindset. You just figure it out. I kept the main thing, and everything else took care of itself. And you control what you control, and what you cannot control, you don't worry about.
All right, last one for you, Mark Spears.
Yes, LeBron, can you talk about just the social justice movement that's taking place, how guys have used their platform here, and as it comes to an end, where do you guys go from here?
Well, we know that being here has given us the strength and the numbers. You can take that from the Golden State Warriors, their strength in numbers, and that's a byproduct of us being here and being able to use this platform to be able to talk about everything that's going on outside the court and all the social injustice and the voter suppression and so many other things that's just going on, the police brutality and so on and so on and so on, and us being here having the opportunity to being able to talk about these issues and continue to understand that this world is not just about basketball. And even though we live in this small piece of the game of basketball, there's so many bigger things and so many greater things that's going on. And if you can make an impact and you can make a change or you can have a vision, it just helps out so much, not only in your community, but all over the world. Where do we go from here? We don't stop. Obviously, when the season ends, in less than a week, that everyone disperses and goes back. But I hope that people continue to use their platform, use their individual social media platforms, or if they're doing it that way. If you're an individual that goes into your community and does it that way, however that you continue to create change for the better of all of us. I think it only makes us all better. And it's not even, doesn't matter what race you are, doesn't matter what color you are, don't matter how tall or whatever the case may be, because we all want to see better days. No matter if you agree or don't agree with some of the things that's going on, I think we all love to see better days and see more love than hate. So I know I'll do my part and as much as I can do on continuing to create change, continue to educate, continue to enlighten my community and communities all over the world that listen to me and follow me throughout my journey. So like I said, you control what you can control and what you can't. Sometimes as much as it hurts, you just try not to worry about it.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody?
All right, we'll start with you, Will.
Thank you. Mike?
Hey, Frank, just wondering, at this point of the series, do you still feel like it's that game-to-game adjustments or is key? Do you feel like you've already gotten a sense of most of the things that Miami does? How does that factor in once you get to a Game 5?
Yeah, you're always trying to anticipate what the other team is going to do from an adjustment standpoint, especially after you've won the most recent game. So, we got a long list of things that they could possibly go to that, we're working on today to prepare for.
Hey, Frank, before you guys departed for the bubble, we talked to you a lot about, preparing kind of your family for your time away. Now that we're at the end of it, what have your conversations been like with your wife and daughters as maybe they prepare for you to come back finally after a really long time? And how do you have to try to block that out going into a closeout game, or do you try to lean into it and use it with your team?
Yeah, I probably prefer to keep my conversations with my family private, but in terms of blocking it out or using it, I would say I try to block it out. To me, this series is far from over. We've got a lot of work to do. This is a great basketball team that we're playing, and my focus is solely on all the little details that go into what we have to do to get one more win.
Allison?
Dave McMenamin.
Hey, Frank, LeBron said that he feels like the Laker experience for him has taught him that Laker fans don't care about what you did prior to putting on the purple and gold. And I wanted to know if that you felt the same way yourself at all, if this has been a validating experience kind of in and of itself, separate from what happened in Indiana and Orlando.
Well, I could say it's been a great experience. I think this is the coolest franchise in the whole NBA, and the fan base, the history, Southern California, it's just, there's nothing like the LA Lakers. And it's been an honor to be a part of it. I hope to, add to its history with one more win. And I'm not sure if, what happened with me prior to coming here has anything to do with it. For the fan base, they just want to see their team win and be back on top. And we're in position to do so, but still obviously one more win.
All right, Will, back to you.
Okay, thank you. Alan Sliwa?
Hey, Coach, of course, always a lot of praise goes to Anthony Davis and LeBron James, as it should. But the role players in the last game, you had 27 points from the bench. Danny Green, KCP had some big shots. Can you just talk a little bit how important, just collectively as a team, every time it seems like somebody is doing exactly their role? If you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's been the story of our season. We set out at the beginning of the year to be a team that's greater than the sum of our parts, to be a team-first team that has obviously our two megastars, but we needed everybody else to try to star in their roles. And without those guys, we don't win at nearly the level that we have. We are not in the position we are right now. And, like you said, I think KCP and Danny and Rondo the other night in particular were huge for us winning that basketball game. I think Kyle Kuzma is quietly having a huge impact on this series. Markieff Morris is having a huge impact on this series. Dwight sets the tone with his physicality. Both of our bigs have been great for us all year long. So, it's definitely a team effort in what we're trying to accomplish.
Brian?
Cool, thank you.
Sorry, Allison, go ahead. I'll get Brian next.
Okay, let's go with Dan.
Wow. I feel very important. Frank, when you sat down with Rob after you got hired and you guys kind of went to work on figuring out what this team was going to look like, what struck you about sort of his willingness to collaborate? I know he's spoken a lot about, talking to LeBron and talking to AD about stuff. And just what was it like working with Rob through that process?
Well, everyone always wants to talk about collaboration, but are not always willing to exhibit, that type of collaboration. And that's what struck me first, is that I was very, very involved in every personnel decision, really every organizational decision that was made from the time I was hired. And it really has been a wonderful partnership between Rob and myself, obviously extending to Jeannie and Kurt Rambis and Tim Harris, and then to our players, with starting with our captains, but all of our guys. We set out to achieve for organizational togetherness. And, I think Rob's relationship with me from the start set a great tone for that.
Kyle Goon?
In terms of the history of this franchise and so all the connections to the past, I know you talk about your deep respect for that, but what does Jeannie represent to you in that terms and feeling connected to the history of the franchise?
Obviously, Dr. Buss is who created the Laker way, and the love for the LA Lakers. Jeannie being a big part of that, obviously being raised through that and being a part of, their rise, all those types of things. But for me, it's been a different dynamic with her leading the way now, and she's been an incredible leader for our organization. She has really given us every resource that we could ask for, has shown support in every way that you can support a coaching staff, a team, a front office. And she's just got a great demeanor about her. She's great to be around. And, she's a huge part of why we're so connected.
Okay, back to you, Will.
Okay, thank you, Frank. I'll take two more for you. Brian Kameninski, please.
Hey, Frank, obviously you guys have preached all season long, one game at a time, whatever's right in front of you. But how much do you as a coach in preparation for tomorrow kind of take into account the human nature of understanding it's one game away, this thing is one game away, and allowing maybe for that to be part of your preparation, sort of an understanding of just the mentality, how hard it is to avoid thinking about it?
Well, like you said, all year long, the focus has remained on the task at hand, not on what's going to happen if we execute, and the result has never been at the forefront of our minds. And right now, we're not thinking about that. We're not thinking about tomorrow. We're not thinking about win or lose. Hey, we're thinking about how to guard pick and rolls, how to execute better offensively without turning the basketball over, all those types of things that fall in the bucket of the process and the task at hand, more so than what the result is going to lead if we're able to have have success and get one more win.
All right, thank you. One more. Sean Hyken.
Frank, you're in this deep playoff run now in the bubble, and then you obviously had a few deep runs with Indy outside of the bubble. If you could maybe think back, which of them in terms of physically, mentally, the different challenges, which is harder and which is easier, or what the differences are, maybe even if one of them isn't harder or easier?
Bubble versus non-bubble?
Yeah, just for when you're in it this conference finals or the finals.
Well, I say obviously playing the road games is easier in the bubble because you're not really on the road. We have home court advantage, so I think that plays against us in some ways because the other team doesn't have to deal with the Laker fan base at Staples. I think the no travel has been easier on all of our schedules, sleep schedules, all those types of things. Those are probably the two biggest things.
All right. Thanks, Frank.
Good.
Okay, Will, we are ready when you are ready.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Hey, Anthony, just curious how you go to bed tonight, like your mindset, thinking about one win away from a championship. How do you just try to stay focused on the game in hand, the task at hand? What's your mindset?
Try to keep the same routine. I mean, try to change nothing. Obviously, this is an important game for us, important game for the Heat. But we try to go out there and do the same thing we've been doing to win 3 games. You know, my focus is the same. Try to stick to the same routine. Watching a movie before bed. Go to sleep. Wake up and just kind of do the same thing that got me here, that got our team here. So you can't really put too much pressure on yourself, start overthinking and start overdoing things that you just because it's a closeout game. But we know the importance of of this game from both sides, and just, we're gonna have fun with it.
Awesome.
David Venman?
AD, you guys are 4-0 wearing the Black Mamba uniforms. Obviously, you've spoken several times about the feeling that you get wearing it and wanting to honor his legacy. A closeout game is a difficult enough challenge as it is. Are you guys putting any extra burden on the opportunity of Friday night by also trying to stay undefeated in those uniforms?
If we come out and do what we're supposed to do, then we can remain undefeated. We just think that, for all the things, that happened this season, with our team specifically, in our organization, that to be able to close it out and, the Black Mamba uniforms will just make it all worth it. Obviously his legacy in the NBA and then just with the organization period, is something special. And for us to, like I said, close it out, in his honor, is something that we look forward to. Something that, insane amount of pressure for sure. Because we don't want to lose, we don't want to let them down. Anytime we lose in the jerseys, we feel like we let them down, and we don't want to do that. We want to remain undefeated, but if we come in and do the things that we're supposed to do on both ends of the floor, then we can remain undefeated and close this thing out and make this moment even more special.
Calgoon?
Obviously, you talked about the strides you wanted to make in Game 3, made a lot of those strides in Game 4. Do you feel like you've locked into your process of how you can be the type of player that you were in Game 4 in every game and for the rest of this series?
For sure. It started with me just getting back to the defensive end. Once I'm locked in defensively, covering for guys, blocking shots, talking, everything else kind of just falls in place, for me and for the team. Once I'm playing with energy, it kind of just trickled down to everyone else, and we seem to play well. They give us that confidence offensively, give us that confidence defensively. But, we love challenges. Like I said, it's not going to be an easy challenge for us to close it out. But if we come in and guys, are locked into what we're supposed to be doing on both ends of the floor, starting with myself and Bron, then, we think we have a pretty good chance of winning tomorrow night.
Dan?
AD, Rob finished 7th in the executive of the year voting. He only got one first place vote. He's been very open about collaborating with you, collaborating with LeBron, collaborating with Frank. Do you think that willingness to collaborate maybe muddies what he's done in his thumbprint on this organization? And I guess what's it been like working with him all year to build the team and to get to this point?
Great GM, great executive. Maybe, but I know and the entire organization know the work he's put in to put this team together, to build this team, to compete for a championship, and to be one win away. I know those awards don't matter to him. Championships do. And, we put ourselves in a position, he put our team in a position to be able to be one win away. And, once we, finish our jobs and do what we're supposed to do, then I don't think no one's going to care about Executive of the Year. But his willingness to talk to me and Bron and Coach Vogel about decisions and whatever else that we talk about. He includes us in a ton of things, and I think that's what a GM and an executive should do. Include his top two guys and include his head coach. And if that doesn't get him that award, then so be it. But and it would just make it even more special to win it. Now that I know, he came in seventh, got one first place vote. That kind of just been a thing this year, with myself with Defensive Player of the Year, Bron with MVP, now Rob with Executive of the Year. But if we able to win one more game, then no one cares about those other awards. We'll all be champions.
All right, we'll send it back to you, Will, for last couple.
Thank you. Alan Slewa?
AD, you just mentioned it right there. At the end of the day, the championship is all that matters. But does that kind of does it add a chip to your shoulder, or does it add a chip to LeBron's shoulder? If some of those individual awards you guys don't get, does that almost in a sense help to go and strive for that ultimate championship, which I know you guys are doing anyways, but does it add I guess, an extra element to it?
I can't speak for Bron, but it does for myself. Especially on the defensive end. I feel like I put a lot of work on the defensive end, being able to guard multiple positions and different actions. And so anytime I play on the defensive end, I try to lock in and, get a stop every time. But like you said, those, individual awards obviously have meaning. You never want to take away from those. But at the same time, the ultimate goal for every team is to win a championship. And, people can talk about winning MVPs and things like that, but I think you get remembered most by winning championships, being a champion. And I think that, if we're able to close this thing out, then that's what people remember. I don't think people are going to remember, individual awards as much as they remember championships. And that's our mindset, just to go out there and win.
All right, we're going to take one more for you. Melissa Rowland?
Hey, D. LeBron talked about how Game 4 was one of the most important games of his career. I'm curious, after 10 NBA Finals, why do you think it was that significant to him, and what's the significance of all of this right now to you?
I don't know why it was his most important game or why it was significant to him. But for me, I want to win my first title. I want to win my first ring. So he's been there several times. He told me that it was a must-win game. Game 4 was, and told our team. And all you can do is trust a guy that's been in that situation 10 times. And we all believed in him. We all trusted him, and we tried to make sure that we go out there and complete the task. I'm not sure we're going to get one of those same messages, but and I don't think we really need it. I think we all know that tomorrow night is also a must-win for us, just as much as it's a must-win for the Heat, which is going to make it even more fun for both teams. And it's been a great journey for me. It's been great battling with these guys night in, night out, every other day. From the regular season to being in the bubble, just being with these guys and this coaching staff and competing and learning, and figuring out ways that we can be better. So my journey's been great. This definitely means a lot to me. But as far as why Game 4 was the biggest playoff game of LeBron's career, we haven't talked about it, so I really don't know.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sadie.